You're listening to Operator.
Hello everyone, we are in the 7th episode of Label Lab. My name is Maria Q and I'm here today with a very special guest, Darko Esser. Hello Darko.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for coming all the way from Nijmegen. It's an honor to have you here today. So Darko is a DJ and producer, very respected here in the Netherlands. He has put together along the years different imprints, and we're gonna talk about the different projects he runs. So maybe you can present a bit more, like what are the different labels you are involved with?
So yes, I I have several labels over the years, and we're gonna dive into how they all came into existence, I guess. So I run the first label I started was together with a friend of mine. I was his predecessor after at Doornroosje, that's the pop venue in Nijmegen. I was the booker there for 20 years. And he was my predecessor before that. And I was working at the time in Groningen, where I was studying. And I did also bookings at a local venue there called Simplon. And he was kind of my mentor because he was 23 years older than me. And I was 19 when I started. And he helped me out to navigate, the pitfalls and what to watch out for in the booking land at the time. And how to negotiate and what a fair price is. And what interesting artists are in this moment, do tours together. Anyway, when I moved to Nijmegen, we have become friends before, so we were also making music together. And at some point we were like, okay, wouldn't it be nice to start a label, And this first idea was in 2001.
2001.
Yes.
I was a kid.
Me too. he was mature. I was, how old was I? 24, I think. Yeah, 24. And at that time it was only vinyl, obviously. There was no beatboards and iTunes and all that, I think, in this moment. So we needed to figure out how that all worked. So yeah, and we found out you have to go to a pressing plant, you have to do mastering, you have to have artwork for it. You have to have a distribution deal.
Did you have someone guiding you, or you just figure out?
Yeah, we knew some bits and pieces, obviously, because we were doing bookings and we had artists over who were running their own labels. So it's just a matter of asking them questions like, how did you go about it? How did you start your label? How did you get a distribution deal? And we got some useful tips. They said, well, once you approach a distribution company who does vinyl distribution, there were quite a few at the time. You have to have at least 3 releases ready, so they know you're serious about doing the label.
Okay.
So that took us 2 years. We weren't working on it full time, obviously, because we had our jobs, etc., and also DJing in the weekends. So we started to ask some friended artists, like not a lot of people know this, but the first 2 releases were supposed to be from Orlando Vorn.
Oh.
Yeah, he wanted to. He got all the rights back to his music from Basic Bastard and Format and all that, and he was looking for a platform to release it on. And we were in very far stages of negotiation, and we had 2 EPs ready from him. And that was actually, because it was Orlando Vorn, that was enough to get a foot in the door with Neuton. That was a distribution company in Frankfurt. But then he moved to Detroit, and he took all his music with him and started to put it out himself. So we had kind of a distribution deal, but no releases yet. We had to go back to the drawing boards, ready for the setbacks from the beginning. Yeah, it always happens like that, So it's totally fine. It's his music; he can do whatever he wants with it. And so we got demos in from other people, and one of them was from Joris Vorn, and he just started putting out music at the time. I think he did like 1 EP and maybe one or 2 EPs at the time. And he sent us some music, and we were blown away. Like, okay, we have to release some of his music.
He was already famous at that time.
No, he was just starting.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he was DJing for a few years, but he was just starting to put his music out, and his music, as you know, really resonated with a lot of people. A really cool Detroit vibe going on, like dubby atmospheres, but very catchy. It would stick in your head. And another artist that I had a really fun night with at Doornroosje was Hakan Lidbo. He's a Swedish artist, quite crazy character in a good way, like a mad professor. His live show is amazing. He used all these like little toys to generate sounds, and then he incorporated it in his lives. And it was kind of like what later would become minimal house and the minimal sounds. And he sent us a lot of music as well, which was amazing. So we had these 2 ready to go, and then we went back to Neuton, and they were like, "Okay, this sounds good. Let's do it. We got a contract, and that's how we got started."
Oh wow, beautiful story. And I guess it's like, it had to be so much different back in the days, like I think every label I invited here is more from the digital era, even if they release also on vinyl, but other world, like...
the threshold was higher in some respects, because it's also expensive. You have to press up the records, and it's your only source of income that you get back. You have to sell them. Was it more expensive than nowadays? No, it's way more expensive now. Yeah. Like everything, right?
Yeah. So what's the name of this first label?
Wolfskuil Records.
Wolfskuil Records.
Yeah, and Wolfskuil is a neighborhood in Nijmegen, where I was living at the time. Because we were thinking, okay, everybody does the labels in English. And that was actually Ger's idea, was like, okay, but if we do it in Dutch, it will sound exotic elsewhere. You know?
The exotic Dutch.
Yeah, because like what is this weird name, you know? And so we decided to do it in Dutch, and we were sitting in my home studio at the time, and like, okay, what name? And then all of a sudden, I was like, why not Wolfskuil, where we are right now? This is where the label started. So let's call it after the neighborhood where the idea began, and let's roll with it. And it sounds kind of interesting how people would pronounce it, you know.
I cannot pronounce it very well even.
A lot of people say
Wolfskuil.
Wolfskuil, like a skull of a wolf, but it's more like it's actually a wolf's den, and it had the Dutch meaning for Wolfskuil is also like a breeding place, so it kind of made sense.
All
like
right.
everything kind of fitted together.
And now I feel like we all want to listen to something from these days. Do you have anything in hand?
Yes, I can put on a track from yours from the very first Wolfskuil.
Nice. So we are listening to Destiny by Joris Form, the first EP in Darko's label. Alright, Darko, like super cool track. Like you are such a lucky person to have Joris Born in your first release. And yeah, how was this welcome? It was well received. It was successful. Did you lose any money with this?
With this one, no, we didn't. Like the first two, I think we sold 1,000 copies.
Wow.
Something like that. Yeah, in those days the numbers were a lot higher, so 1,000 was not considered like a huge amount, but it was a decent,
Yeah.
you know. And as a starting label, it's pretty good, I guess, because we were the new kids on the block. Joris Forn was a new kid on the block at the time.
And there wasn't SoundCloud or Spotify, so people will have to buy the
No,
record.
you had to send out actual like test pressings. We would make like 1,000 finished copies and 150 test pressings, and the test pressings would go into this record pool, and they would get sent to radios, to DJs, and there were like sheets in there where people could leave their feedback on, and they would send it back through a fax machine.
Nice.
But they were pretty well received, I think. Like Laurent Garnier played it, and a few other like big names at the time. I'm not exactly sure who all. It's a long time ago, but we were quite surprised that it got picked up quite well. Those first records, and after that we started to release also from local artists who were just starting out. Like I find we were just talking about it, but I find the beginning stages of people's careers super interesting. So yours was in the beginning of his career, and those local artists, including Roger Gerritsen, who is still touring a lot internationally, and who has a big name now in this like minimal house, dubby house, dusty beat scene.
Mm-hmm.
But released his first record as well, and from a lot of other local artists. And because we took that very seriously, like the meaning of Wolfskuil. It's a breeding ground, so you have to nourish talent.
I think it's very good that you highlight this, and also for other labels that are currently being birthed, like there is a lot of local talent hidden, you know, and also there's a lot of an awareness from artists that of what they will become and with what they will be able to do, and it's good to focus on finding these how you say, like these diamonds from scratch, no?
Exactly, and give that a platform if you have the opportunity to do so. It feels very rewarding to do that. Like it's the same with the booking. It's the same philosophy as I had with the bookings for the clubs that I worked for. You know, that you have to have like a really solid local foundation in order for it to have strong roots in the community that you are from. So like big names on your label, of course, sounds interesting. And if we had the opportunity to do that, if they're friends, you know, if you have a connection with them, because it's a labor of love, you know. Mm-hmm. We had no an illusion that we were gonna live from the label at any point. So it's a labor of love. So you want to work with people that you like, or that you want to share this with, or give a platform to. So these big names were not on my radar unless they were close to me. Mm-hmm. You know, and then it doesn't feel like they're a big name; they're a friend.
Okay. And how this project evolved? What came after that?
So we did the label together for a few years, and then Ger got a job at the other side of the country. So we decided that
Not so far.
yeah, in Holland it's very relative, of course, but it was a full-time job, and it was difficult, and he wanted to take a step back from all of this anyway, and he was in a different phase of his life. He was I don't think I've said it before, but he was a lot older than me.
You were in Groningen, you say, yeah, at that time, or Nijmegen?
No, I was already in Nijmegen when we started
there was
the
a
label.
lot of this thing going on there at that time, or other labels?
For producers, no, there was only a few at that time, because also the threshold to make music is high, especially in the 90s. And in the 2000s, it started to change, but you needed to have like a proper studio setup. You had a sampler, synthesizers, mixing desk, and that was very costly. And I think in the early 2000s, that slowly started to change when the computers became more powerful, and then Ableton came onto the scene in 2002 or something, 2003, I think. And that made it easier for people to start making music themselves. You didn't have to buy all this gear. You can work in the box. And then I started to notice that more people were starting to make the music and also send it to us, like local artists. We were looking for them. And we had some very young people, like around 20s, and some guy even 15-year-olds who was making really dope stuff. So we decided to give those people whose music we really enjoyed and we thought fit the label a platform. Besides the international people I met usually through my work as a booker. And if I had a connection with them and they wanted to send music, then we would work for the label as well.
You were having a very juicy network at that time.
Yes.
Time
all these
now.
worlds kind of fitted really nice together. And as I said, in 2008 he left, and we decided I could keep the label, and I started to run it on its own. And then things moved pretty quickly, and I got more and more demos. More people were making music. It was a really nice democratization of the means to make music. So there was so much good stuff happening, and I got all this amazing music. I thought, okay, I need to do things with it, but I can't do it on just this label anymore, because Wolfskuil had a certain sound already. So I decided to make like a sub-label for Wolfskuil called Wolfskuil Limited, and I dedicated that to the more deeper sounds. We were like in the middle of the like minimal house, minimal techno. So there was a lot of really good quality music in that area, and I put that out on Wolfskuil Limited, and the more big room, quote unquote, was on the main label. And in 2011, I got more and more like the Berghain sound started to get more popular. There was more attention again for a little bit harder music, and also more traditional, more 90s based. And I got more and more music from that as well. But that didn't really fit in my mind like the Wolfskuil promo, because that was more like open. There was a lot of different genres being released on there. And I wanted to do like a purist thing that was dedicated to like a pure version of techno, at least my version of it. And that became Balans, which was named after my first album.
Oh, okay. So now do you want to show us something from the end of Wolfskuil? Or do you
I can play a track from like a deep house track that came out on the Limited label from Bas Amro, who is now doing the bookings for Thuishaven. But he was 19 at the time, and just listen to it. You won't believe like such a young person made this.
All right.
It's so good.
Okay, let's listen. I love this track. Like it's so peaceful and nostalgic. Can you say again the name of the artist?
This is Bas Amro. He's a Dutch producer. He comes from the same city as Joris Voorn. Actually, we were just talking about this, and they worked at the same club, like Joris before him. And this was his very first release he ever did, and it's such a beautiful sunrise track. You know, beautiful deep house.
I love it. I really love it. And then you say like this was like a moment where you decided also to go for a purest sound of the techno you wanted to release, and then it came Balance, yeah?
That became Balance, yes, and that was more like for the heady stuff, Detroit, minimalistic sounds, well, Berlin-esque, you know, like old Basic Channel, Tresor stuff. That really inspired me when I started out and on my own journey in this world. And the first release on that label was from Dimi Angelis and Jeroen Search, who are still making music. And Jeroen Search, even since like when I started, one of the first 100 records I had probably was a few of his already when he was releasing as Jeroen. So that also felt like a full circle moment, because in my mind he was a legend. And
he's a legend.
He's a fucking legend. He's a fucking legend. So I was super happy with that, and that sounded like the perfect start to start this label with.
And what do you want to show the Dimi Angelis and Jeroen Search? Yeah.
Yeah, and, it makes sense to do the very first one from this one as well, right? So.
Okay, thank you. So this was 2011, Dimi Angelis and Jeroen Search. And how did your story continue? Like, I'm really enjoying this chronological story about your career.
Thank you. It's nice to talk about. It's been a while since I talked about the label, so thank you for giving me the opportunity to dive into this historic. It was a lot of fun at home as well to go through all the old releases again and be surprised, like, oh wow, did I put this out?
So nice. It's an honor for me, and I hope people enjoy as much as I do getting to know the stories behind the music.
Yeah, so on Balans, there was more the puristic side, and I started to get, because I had all these different labels now, and I was putting out a lot of music, and I started to get more and more music sent to me, and there was so much good stuff going on that I kept pushing my own releases out every time, because I thought, like, well, this is more exciting than what I made, so I want to put this out first. So I was pushing my own music back all the time. So at some point I thought, well, maybe I should start something else that's just for me. And right around that time, I had a few tunes I found interesting for that, but I wasn't really feeling it under my own name. I can't really explain how that works in my brain. Mm-hmm. it felt different. It was especially one tune, and I thought, well, maybe I should do like an alter ego. And at that time, there was a big hype about like white labels with stamps on it, and it was super obscure. Nobody knew who made the records and stuff like this. It was, I think, a reaction to the internet at the time, where more and more information became available, and places like Facebook became bigger, and Discogs exploded, and everybody knew everything. So there was this kind of craving towards anonymity. And I thought, well, it's maybe funny if I do something like that too. And then an old nickname that I had when I was playing in punk bands, because before all this I played in punk bands and I come from the punk scene. And that nickname was Tripeo, because in one punk band, my main punk band that I played, used to connect all the amplifiers in the rehearsal spaces that I could find to make like a wall of sound as much as possible with the guitar. And the drummer at some point said to me, like, oh, you don't do mono, you don't do stereo, you do Tripeo. And they started to call me Tripeo after that. Oh. And that came back in my mind.
So you were playing guitar at the punk band?
Yeah, and singing or screaming or whatever. Because nobody else wanted to do it, so I had to. It was a democracy.
No shame.
No. Well, a little bit, but you get over that too, you know. You're with a group of people, so you can hide behind that.
We have to do another episode to show me the music from your punk band.
Yeah, we have one demo. I don't have it on this stick, but sure, let's go for it. Let's go for it. So yeah, the track, the main track was very trippy. So for me, it made sense, and I was like, okay, yeah, I've got a name for the project, and there was no plan other than just put out this record, and so I called it Tripeo and First Trip. Because that made.
So in the time it was like kind of anonymous for you, but now like you are most well known as Tripeo also.
Exactly, because the joke was on me. The record got a lot of attention. Like a lot of big artists played it. It was all over Berghain, for example. Like a lot of the residents played it. A lot of the guests played it. And I was completely taken by surprise, because for me it was just my little inside joke, like a little fun I had, and there was never the plan to DJ or play live under this alter ego, under this moniker. But after this first one got so much response, I put out a second one, and then people started to ask, like, okay, do you do live shows with this? And I was like, no.
But I can.
But maybe I'll think about it. And then I started to, I thought, well, that's maybe interesting to do it like a techno live set, because it's very flexible sound. I can, you can play around with it, you can improvise a bit with it. So it was, I played live under my own name, but it was more rigid because the structures of the songs that I made were more like song based, and this was more like dance floor tools. So I started to fool around with that, and quickly I thought, yeah, this is actually a lot of fun to play live with this. And then I started to accept bookings, and that just became bigger and bigger and bigger. It never got super big, but for for my level, it came to international tours and stuff like that. That I didn't.
It's curious that sometimes, like yourself, no, you were saying that you were pushing others, and then you were a bit forgetting about yourself, and then like you finally decided to push yourself, and it worked very well.
Yeah. It turned out like that. But again, I'm not really a career planner. I especially in those days, I never thought very far ahead. I just wanted to have fun in the moment, and I like my job. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to run a label, DJing a little bit, doing the bookings for the club. I wanted be an all-rounder, so to speak, not focus on one thing, because all of it was interesting. And I wanted to know everything, like a sponge. I wanted to soak it all up.
I feel you.
So having like a proper DJ career was never my intention. And at some point I was playing a lot in Holland, and I was like, wow, this is great. So I can pay the labels with the DJ money that I get, because in the labels, you lose money on most releases, especially if you do vinyl. And the numbers were going down, but I was like, no, I don't care. I get the money from the DJ. You
managed to create a good ecosystem, right?
Yeah. And if I want to put something out from somebody nobody knows, and it has like a limited amount of 250 or 300 copies, I don't care, because the DJ part of my work could pay for that. So yeah, I thought it as everything was fitting together, like a holistic thing.
Yeah, nice way of thinking. I also think of projects like this, like, okay, I lose money from here, but I got it from my work. It's fine.
There's people that think about it really economically, so this has to be sustainable and this, and like, yeah, but for me, everything is connected. So why sever the ties between them?
So can you show us something from the beginning of Tripeo?
Yeah, again, I'm gonna do the track that started it all, which was,
okay, cool.
I never thought that would get that response.
Okay, so this is the birth of Tripeo. So this is the track that where a star was born, and I really like it. I really like it. So after this, like now, you have also a label to release your own music. This was 2012.
Yes.
How did it go? Like how it evolved, and how did you manage to to keep the other labels, and what happened next?
Yes, so I'm not sure if I mentioned it just to you or also in this broadcast already, but I was the labels were financed basically from my DJ gigs. Tripeo allowed me also to tour abroad and travel internationally, and on those travels I love to learn about the local scene. So if I go somewhere and if I have the time and you have a connection with the promoters or the local artist, you just show me around, you know, like how does your world look like? How does your scene work? How do you find music? How do you organize stuff? I find it super interesting because I have all these different kind of jobs within music. So for the bookings, for the label, for the artist side. So on those travels, I also met a lot of like super interesting people and talents, and I just helped, you know, the A&R, so to speak, for the labels to get like people from all over the world basically on the labels, which was
you really expanded.
Yeah, in that sense, yeah. Like it became more like a global thing, and and I like that. The fact that everything went quite organically. I'm not a planner. You know, I just go with the flow. Even though I'm a booker, you have to plan for the club, you know, but it's like 6 months ahead, and that's how I also try to think for my own career and for the labels, like what comes on your path, and just follow that flow, you know. Don't get stuck into one sound. I never wanted things to be too tied off. There always needs to be space to move around. Like for the A&R, that's at least my philosophy, and it can take you to interesting places, and the labels can keep evolving that way, so you're not stuck to a certain sound from a particular era, and then when that is over, then there's no room for your label anymore. But if you do like a broader sound palette, then you can evolve with the time without losing your character, so to speak, or your that is your signature. I was always looking for music that was kind of timeless, but also from that time, if that makes any sense, that you can listen to 10 years later and still like it, but it's also part of this moment when it came out. I loved labels like that, like for example, F Communications from Laurent Garnier. There was a label that just put out so much different stuff, but it all made sense. If you followed the label, you would understand like the philosophy behind it and the taste of the people who ran it, and why it would make sense for them to release a Scan X record, which is quite acidic techno, and also Saint Germain or Mr. Oiseau, you know. And I wanted to run labels like that.
It's beautiful. All right, so we don't have so much time, but you have also another label, yeah? Do you want to play something else from Tripeo? You want to show us maybe something from The Leap?
The Leap, yeah. There was a collaboration with Han, who's one of my best friends. He released on Wolfskuil as Doka. And he has his own label, Construct, which is really like deep Donato Dossi style techno. It still exists, and he still puts out like four records every year. Go check it out. Shout out to Han. I'm not sure if I put anything on the stick, but there's a easy search function, I guess, so I can look something up.
We can play maybe 1 or 2 more tracks. So make your choice what you want to show. We are going with the flow, as you can see.
Now I wanna play something from a French artist, Hemka.
Okay.
She's a really, really good friend of mine, really close friend. And she released her debut album on Balans. We had some collaborations in the studio too, which never saw the light of day, but maybe at some point they will.
All right.
But yeah, this album that blew my mind, and this is my favorite track from it. It's kind of like an ambient, syncopated tune. You could put it in like the Barker corner of things before Barker did this, actually, I think. No, but it was around the same time, 2019. Yeah, I think the album from Barker also came out in 2019. And this track, it's just so beautiful. I'm just going to stop talking and play it.
Thank you. Beautiful, dreamy track by the French artist MK in Balance.
Yes.
Yeah, it's difficult to keep the track of songs, but the styles are different, I can see clearly. So, Darko, nowadays, like, how is all this ecosystem of labels doing? Are all active?
Well, they've been dormant for a few years. I'm slowly starting to think to reboot a few. Like Balans did a release last year, just one from Elisa Botti, our mutual friend. Amazing producer. I wanted to do more, but due to personal circumstances, I had to postpone it. And now we are relaunching the label because I still do events under the Balans name together with Charlotte, Locus Error, who is a local artist. And she and 7 others are part of a little studio complex I run with a friend of mine, who's also an artist, obviously. Cadence from also from Balans label, and we did some projects together. And he was a drum and bass artist as Icicle, quite big actually. Also toured the whole world for a long time. But we run a small studio complex together, and we have all these talented artists, and we see their development, and they're making more and more. They're finding their voice, so to speak. So it's at this interesting junction that we feel like, okay, let's put their music out. And we are starting to release a series of various artist EPs, 4 tracks each, with those residents. And then after that, we would like to open it up to other local artists, because there's a really cool ecosystem in Nijmegen of musicians who make really dope stuff.
Are you open for demos? Are you open for demos?
Of course. Of course.
Where to send them?
We have an Instagram, Balans Events at Instagram, and people can send demos there, and we can exchange information through this channel. It's easiest these days.
Okay, so is there anything else you want to mention, or I wanted to ask you if you have like something unreleased that you could share.
Yeah, there's also I also want to do another Tripeo release. Actually, I'm going to do one also in a collaboration with a label from Nijmegen, Deep Sound Channel, which is part of Shipwreck. And he's going to do the final part. I'm going to do the digital part. And this track is one of the tracks from this EP. And I think it will come out in December.
All right. Thank you. this was all for Darko Esser, Tripeo. Thank you so much for coming here today. It really means a lot for me to have such a legend together today, and I find it very, very interesting. And I feel like we need much more time, so hopefully we can have a second edition of this show.
Let's
sometime.
Go. Let's go. We already discussed when the music was playing all the other stuff we could talk about. So let's go. Let's do it. And thank you so much for this opportunity and for inviting me and to talk about this. It means a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much.